This is how Uprising, Halo 2's shortest, it tied for shortest mission, was beaten in only 58 seconds on Legendary. And if you've seen my previous videos, you may have noticed the absence of something. The runner. That's because this is our first ever tied world record. So this is how Bonicus and White Noise beat Uprising in only 58 seconds on Legendary. The run starts with our runners heading to the left of the start and running their way up to these brutes while grabbing this energy sword on the way to do a sword cancel above this brute for a small time save before our runners make their way to this cliff edge, where they lure a brute using a plasma rifle and letting the brute melee over them to begin literally flying. Kinda. So this is, for the sake of our series, our introduction to butterflying, one of Halo 2's oldest tricks, but not one brought into speedrunning for quite a while. Butterflying works like this. Being under an enemy, if you melee, your character is lunged forward to the enemy, pushing them upwards slightly when underneath them. This will normally kill the enemy, but what if you were to cancel this melee before it hits its target by switching your weapon at nearly or exactly the same time? They don't die, and you get that height and movement. Sort of. You see, with just these two inputs, you can stay in the air, but you will slowly lose height, unless you also add the jump button into the equation. So in order to butterfly successfully, you need to press melee and switch at the same time or near the same time, then jump not even a second later, so practically at the same time. Don't worry though, it's not frame perfect. Finally, you need to maneuver yourself. Oh yeah, I didn't mention that due to the turns involved with butterflying, you at times need to stop or slow down considerably to turn yourself around. If you try to do this while moving, you'll lose the enemy. To slow yourself, it's as simple as removing the jump button and continuing your pace as you slowly rotate yourself to the correct angle. And don't worry about that spasming, that is completely normal, this is a controlled environment. Now with everything said about butterflying for Uprising, we get back to our runners who have just begun their butterflying, with White Noise taking a safer path and option and leaving the ground at around 21 seconds. Meanwhile, Bonicus has taken a riskier beginning that gets the brute on him faster, but gets his character model stuck to the brute's feet, causing him to leave the ground at 19 seconds. Both runners begin butterflying all the way until getting past this mountain and using this part of the mountain right here to know when to stop, where they both begin turning, with White Noise having a cleaner turn and probably one of the cleanest turns you can have for butterflying, saving the time he lost with a safer lineup. Bonicus, on the other hand, has gotten the expected version of the butterfly turn, which involves struggling with the disconnect from the brute, losing him the time he gained from his riskier lineup. They turn until the ring above them is in a range of 0 to 45 degrees to the left from your view angle, with closer to 45 degrees normally being more preferable, but not necessary, unless you're going for world record. You see, with world record, it is a much thinner gap. Once both of them begin flying to the end trigger, they both hit the mountain to their right, which controls their speed and lines them up to the end trigger, while also making sure the brute on top of them doesn't fall behind. From here, they both detach from the wall to not hit this protrusion in the cliff, but not far enough to where they miss the trigger entirely. Eventually, this leads both Bonicus and White Noise to hitting the ending trigger at roughly the same time, finishing the level in only 58 seconds on Legendary.